Dyslexic Genius here. We're back on the Edison 18 diamond disc, the really expensive one. We've gotten the oiling tubes refelted. I missed one right here still have to do. And now we're going to take the motor apart. What's the first thing you take a motor apart? We're going to take the speed control apart. Now, there is a fine adjustment in speed control, which is this square nut right here. So if you watch the felts right here, they move. In, out. This is a fine adjustment for the speed control. So we're going to take the speed control apart.
That is a square screw. Wow.
Yeah, there is a square screw right there, and that's what that's for. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this little screw out right here. We don't want to lose that special thing. We're going to unhook the spring if it wants to unhook. There we go. Got that unhooked. Now we're going to unhook this screw right here. There we go. And these are all special to the speed control. See, there's no oil in here for this to adjust. And you always want some oil in here for the adjustment. And you can see how these are clogged up now. We have to fix those later. We'll talk about that. So now what you have is we have two screws back here on the carriage. On the spring barrels, you have a screw here and a screw here we have to take off. Now if these screws are, sometimes they're really, really tight on Edisons. So if you get in here and you go, oh God, this is really tight. That's why they make screwdrivers with square shafts. So you just come in here, lock it into the slot, get the crescent wrench tight enough, and then you just push down real hard and it breaks loose. If they're tight. Sometimes these things are extremely tight. And you always want to make sure the motors run all the way down. I hope I didn't need that screwdriver. All you do is pull out.
Pull what?
You just kind of slide this out, and that's a whole spring barrel assembly, just like that. That's how that comes apart. Now, this whole casting is one piece. You have a screw here, and a screw right here. So we'll take this screw out, and that's one of those tight ones. Why do I take these apart? I'll tell you in a minute once I get this screw loose. Because we can take this whole casting off, and then we can rebuild the whole thing in one piece, and then put it back in and do all the adjustments. One right there. I'm going to show you something. These are like A1s, Edison A1s. We have a pin right here that holds it in place. So you just come in with a screwdriver. And that comes out all in one piece. Just kind of pops off. And now what we can do, it will be later in the videos, we can take this whole thing apart on the bench. That's the really critical part. And we can reassemble it and it just pops in. And then we can do all the fine tuning. We're not messing with the whole motor. And that's how you get a diamond disc apart. We have a ton of videos on spring packing. We have them also on diamond discs, so I'll leave that part out because we have tons of videos on how to pack springs. But I'll talk about the winding crank mechanism in the back. We'll get into this part, and then we'll get into this part, and this will be a really nice assembly. I always talk about the weak link in every phonograph, and the weak link on Edison's is the spring that's in the winding crank ratchet paw system in here. There's a spring in here, and when I take it apart and do the work on it, I will show you that weak link. That spring always breaks, and you should really replace those when you do a restoration, because these are over 100 years old, and that's my tip for the day.